Hey everyone, welcome back. This is another talk episode where I'm not going to be talking about my gameplay as much, or at all. I'm going to be going over my life. Well, I basically already went over kind of who I am, what I was, my career, and now it's more talking about the channel and a little bit more about myself, stuff that I didn't really talk about last episode. So one thing I didn't talk about was my interests and hobbies outside of games and movies. I really only covered my career and the reason why I'm doing YouTube. So I feel like it's important to kind of talk about my life outside of the, I guess, nerdier aspects of it. Now that I actually have money, I'm not living super poor like a starving artist. I spend a lot of time working on vehicles. I have a 2016 Mustang that I'm slowly working on modding and making it kind of my own vehicle and unique to me. Before the Mustang, I did have a Jeep. It was just like a, I don't know what year it was. I think it was a 2016 Renegade, dual turbocharged. The thing was pretty awesome, and it was fast. Like, it was a pretty fast Jeep. But it didn't really fit for me. Like, it just wasn't really... It wasn't cool enough, I guess. Like, I didn't feel awesome as I was, like, ripping down the road or revving the turbos and getting it to squeal. So I said, you know what? I gotta get a muscle car. And what better than the most traditional pony car out there is Mustang. Found a really good deal at a used dealership. I think I paid $20,000 for the Mustang. So I was super happy about that. And it's kind of become like my identity is my Mustang. But on top of that, I also have an old 2002 Jimmy SLS. For people who don't know, it's basically just a Blazer, just GMC, not Chevy. And that is currently being modded into a sustainable off-road camp kind of vehicle. I don't have any plans yet for upgrading like the power, engine swapping, or anything like that. But I've been thinking about it, as well as I've been looking at other vehicles. I'm looking at getting a rally car. Get into rally racing. I would also like to get into track and drag racing, but my Mustang, like, it is still just a base model. Like, it's not GT or anything. Although I have done a little bit of street racing with it, and comparatively to like the GTs out there, it holds its own. For a base V6 with no turbo, my Mustang is like pretty freaking quick. Mind you, that's also probably because I'm rocking standard and most people here are on automatics and they don't know how to drive worth shit. But I'm hoping that to get two giant turbos installed on it, fat pipe the exhaust, do stuff like that. I would like to supercharge it, but I may have money, but I don't have that kind of money to be supercharging. But aside from that, yeah, I'm looking at rally racing. I would like to also get a solid off-road racer. And I haven't decided whether or not I want to make the Jimmy after I'm done with using it as like a camping vehicle. I haven't decided if I want to make it really a truly off-roading like Baja. So yeah, I've got a lot of works with vehicles right now. I'm really trying to expand kind of the stuff that I do outside of this kind of stuff. Outside of YouTube, outside of gaming, outside of recording and effects and animation. I do a lot of woodworking. I don't really do too much with like electrical. Although I would like to, especially when it comes to vehicles. I'm trying to figure out how to wire in a lot more high tech into my vehicles. So eventually I am going to start getting into electrical side, at least in the automotive sense. But yeah, so that's more or less me outside of sitting in front of my computer. Other than that, I'm pretty much always on my computer, 24/7 computer. At work, I'm on the computer. At home, I'm on the computer, except for when I'm working on a woodworking project or on one of my vehicles. So now I think is a good spot to start talking about kind of more so what I want to do with the channel. Things that I'm hoping for doing, things that I have in the works currently. So basically, right now I'm still looking at growing, finding my exponential growth, figuring out what people are coming to smaller channels for, whether it's indie games, fail videos, not really fail videos, but watching like hard gameplay and kind of like, you know, laughing along with me as I fail at games. Or if it's just generally good gameplay, or is it personality and the game doesn't really matter. So I'm kind of working on all that kind of stuff, trying out different things here and there. Like I've been doing a little bit of skull streaming to kind of hit that hard gameplay, as well as I'm a very much roguelike player. If I had to pick one genre to play for the rest of my life, it would definitely be roguelikes. So my kind of thought is that I would like to eventually be almost predominantly a roguelike player, but that market seems very hard to get into. You know, you've got so many big YouTubers and streamers that all they do is play games like Binding of Isaac and other roguelikes like Slay the Spire, Monster Train. So I'm trying to kind of find a niche before I really get involved with that kind of stuff, even though that is ultimately what I think I would enjoy doing the most with this channel. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, hopefully in the future. Right now, I'm mostly looking at expanding through different content, like I was saying earlier, but also with like collaborating with other content creators. So I'm really focusing on trying to like find other cool people that are also kind of looking for the same thing. And I do have some people that I'm talking to right now, and I have something set up with a few friends of mine that are also kind of in the same boat. One of them approached me with an idea that he has, and that's going to be taking part this weekend. We're going to be playing The Forest together. There's, I don't know how many of us there is. I think there's 5 or so. So I'm looking forward to that and actually like trying out collabing with other content creators and all kind of working together for the same goal, which I think is ultimately one of the coolest things about small channel. You even see it in the bigger channels too. You see a lot of them doing like collab servers for games like Rust and those bigger games. So I think it's a really cool idea and something worth exploring for the channel. And if it's something that like takes us off and gets us to where we want to be, I'm definitely gonna be super pumped about that, because playing games with friends is also such a great fun time, and you can lose yourself for hours and you can come up with some of the best content ever just sitting there joking and laughing and making dumb jokes, just laughing at each other's stupidity. That's kind of my thought process anyways. And it feels like something, you know, a lot of people are kind of down with the whole watching people play together and have fun together. So that's hopefully something that will be going more permanent. I'm hoping to do that throughout the weeks here and kind of see how it affects my channel, if it affects it at all, or if everything kind of stays stagnant. If it kind of stays stagnant, I'm thinking we'll try other things, maybe try different content creators, like working with different creators. You know, everything's still really far up in the air, that I don't really know exactly where things are going. But aside from that, I was also thinking about maybe getting back into animating and doing some videos on animating. Kind of like showing tips and tricks from industry and things that I've learned in college that most aspiring artists don't really know or don't bother with, just because they haven't had that official training, they haven't seen it. So I was thinking that that would be a neat little cool idea, is being able to bring my expertise from something that I was a part of, and I was a part of in a big way. I would like to, you know, bring something to the table for these people who are looking towards getting there. Because I honestly don't think college is necessary for the art industry. However, no, I should take that back. College is absolutely essential, but I think there's a lot of things that they teach you in college that you should know before going into college. And these things aren't really, like, you don't find them anywhere unless you look deep enough and you spend literally every waking hour searching and typing and looking up, and you'll find small videos here or there talking about them, and maybe some big ones too will talk about them, but never lots of information nicely condensed and like easy, readily. You have to go from one channel to another to kind of piece things together that you really need for yourself to become a better artist, to get into animation, to really understand the industry. So that's something that I was thinking about too, is doing stuff like that related to my past industry. Another thing I was looking into was, I mentioned yesterday on my absolute love for Ready Player One and how I ended up got to work on it. I was thinking about kind of doing a breakdown series of the book and movie, kind of talking about things I liked, things I didn't like, playing the games that were referenced, as well as listening to the music that was referenced, and mostly in the books. The movie didn't really talk about any of the music, which is one of my biggest complaints, is the music in the movie. But I'll save that for later, for potential stuff going down the road. If anybody watching is if that's something you guys want to see and it's something right down your alley, then I am absolutely open to starting that earlier than I was planning. I was thinking that would be something later on down the road as I got more comfortable with the YouTube platform. But if it's something that is like a, yeah, no, that's super cool, you should do that, I was thinking of it as more, not documentary, but docu-style, where it kind of, every episode is about a part of the book or like an idea of the book and movie and how they correlate to each other, what the movie did that was fantastic in regards to the book and what it failed at missing, what it should have been, or what they could have done better that would have flowed better and gained more traction. Because I think that was one thing, like the movie had so much potential to be so much better. They had so many references and stuff that they could have brought out, but they kept it to a very limited set, and I don't know if it's because of copyrights and stuff like that, because the book is chocked full of copyrights that would terrify anybody how much it would cost to actually put into a movie. So I understand maybe, but I have a lot of things like that I would like to talk about. So I was thinking about doing like a documentary style series on it, where it would be something like 24 episodes long, and they'd be, proper episode length, like 24 minutes or whatever, depending on the format that I finally decide in the end. So that's one other thing that I was thinking of. I was also thinking of doing a series on books, just kind of in general, just talking about some of my favorite novels. And by the way, I'm just watching the video there, I saw a box way up high that I had missed before. So now I know, next time I play this level, sometimes you catch things as you rewatch that you totally just fly right over your head. Anyways, off topic a bit there. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, things that I'm looking at. Yeah, so I was thinking about doing like book series, kind of talking about some of my favorite books, things I liked, hidden gems in them, secrets that people may have missed their first time reading it, or flaws that I found with it. And this would it would be like running series kind of like Ready Player One, but a little bit less. It wouldn't be as in-depth as Ready Player One. Maybe for some of my more favorite ones, like Kingkiller Chronicles, I would do a little bit more in-depth. But some of like my lesser favorites would be a bit smaller. Like if I were to go over Harry Potter, it would definitely be a lot smaller, and it would be mostly complaints, even though I love I love Harry Potter, mostly because of the nostalgia, the rose-colored glasses. But I've recently gone through it as an adult over the past couple, I think it was the past year, I went and listened to all the books on Audible, and oh my god, they're just riddled with plot holes. But not just that, but like there's so many things. I'm not gonna start myself down that road. That's asking for massive tangents here. So I was thinking about that. I was also thinking about doing it not only just for books, but also having maybe potentially doing for TV series, movie series, pretty much just anything that I truly have a love and passion for. I kind of have in place an idea for videos on, but I don't really want to start going down all these avenues just kind of all at once, or just trying it and it not really working, or doing it too early when I don't have enough of a base to do it. So these things are all kind of sitting on my mind, and I haven't like started even really, because I don't know exactly how I'm going to go about it, and I don't know who wants to even see it, if it's going to even attract enough people to be worth me spending countless hours doing. Sorry, my mouth is getting a little dry. So, yeah, there's quite a lot that I would like, and lots of stuff going on that would be interesting. I just kind of need input back from people watching. And as well as if there's things like specific games that the viewers want to see, I'm definitely down to trying them, unless I know I hate the game. Like if somebody, for example, were to say play Fortnite. No real interest. I have it. I touch it every once in a while. Don't find the game fun at all. Stuff like that. Or like PUBG. If somebody says, oh, we want to see PUBG gameplay. No. I have too many issues with that game. But I don't know why we're just going straight down the Battle Royale path. If somebody were to say, let's see some Apex. Yeah, okay, you know what? I would try out recording and doing some Apex Legends content. That would be alright with me. And I was also thinking about just kind of posting a list of all my games and just letting people choose. I think that would be an interesting way to go about a game series. Would be saying, oh, okay guys, here's my 400 plus games. Let's hear it. Which one do you guys want to see? Kind of leave it up for a vote. One other thing too, game-wise, that I was thinking is I wanted to go back and do a lot of like the retro games that I grew up playing. I know this Crash series is kind of like that already, but it isn't playing the original Crash Bandicoot, it's playing the remakes of it. So, and the games like that I was thinking of was more like Legend of Zelda, like the original, Super Mario 3, kind of stuff like that. Look at the games. Legend of the Dragoon. I think that would probably be one of my first ones if I were to do a retro game series. Legend of the Dragoon would definitely be like up there. It is by far my all-time favorite game, period. I absolutely love that game. There's also, what was that? It wasn't a Mega Man, but it was in the Mega Man world. Misadventures of Tron Bonne. Another one of my absolute favorites growing up. Such a fun game. So that's another game that I would think about playing too if people wanted to see like a retro series, or I decided I wanted to do a retro series. And I would also do some of like the older racing games. Matt Hoffman Pro BMX, you know, games like that were like so much fun as a kid, but you may not necessarily want to play them now. Or just no real interest in BMX sports games, because why? I know the new Tony Hawk game came out recently, and that was actually, well, not new, but the remake of the Tony Hawk. And yeah, but I would be more interested, like, I was thinking about getting that Tony Hawk game, but I'm more interested in replaying the old one, not the new one. If that makes sense. I don't know if it's like rose-colored glasses or what, like why, but that is kind of just how I feel about that game. And I'm trying to think of the other things that I had. I know I had a whole list in my head before starting this recording. I should have written it down and had it sitting on one of my monitors for reference. But being the dum-dum that I am, of course I didn't write anything down for planned. So we're kind of just winging it now that I've kind of forgotten. I would like to talk about music too. Maybe have a series about music. Because I am quite a huge music lover. And not just in the sense of I listen to music all the time, because most of my free time is actually spent on audiobooks nowadays. But I have spent the time and like actually learnt about music in a more scientific way, I guess is what you could say. Not really scientific, but more in the what makes a song catchy, like actually knowing how to pick out a good song from a bad song, not just based on how many 12-year-olds like your song, but, you know, kind of like that. So I would like to talk about music too, and maybe branch into that for a bit. But again, all of this is kind of based on reactions and how people kind of perceive the channel, how well the channel does, to whether or not any of this is even going to come close to coming true. We are getting kind of close to the end of this video. So I think mostly what I really am looking for from this episode is to hear back from people and to see what they want from me. Like, if they're cool with what I'm doing right now, which is just achievement hunting, and just continuing on with that along with the side streams and the stuff that I already talked about that is in the works right now, then cool, I'll just keep going as planned. But ultimately, if there is a, yeah, we really want to see this, and it is something that I'm interested in, I'm definitely going to look at doing that, like, post-haste kind of thing. Another thing too, I guess, now that I'm remembering it, that I wanted to really talk about games in the literal sense of what makes them good, what makes them bad, and not just in the, well, popular opinion says this game is good, because there's tons of games out there, just like movies, like, for example, what's the best movie example? Blair Witch Project. Not a good movie. Absolutely terrible. Like, cinematically speaking, it is not a masterpiece. It is university students just made something because they wanted to make something, and it became such a massive cult classic. Like, it had no budget, and you could clearly tell it had no budget. It wasn't like, oh, what am I thinking of? Why can't I think of it now? Oh my god, my brain is just failing me. Oh, crap. Well, okay, well, movies like Dr. Horrible Sing-Along Vlog. There we go. Finally got it. Finally came to my head. It, no budget. It was, like, all the actors, Neil Patrick Harris and Felicia Day and what's his name, who is from the city I'm from, or am living in right now. For some reason can't remember. Yeah, my mind is completely blank now that I've been talking for 30 minutes straight. But anyways, that movie had no budget, just like Blair Witch Project. I mean, it probably had a bit more budget than Blair Witch Project, but it was infinitely better. Like, it was actually an amazing movie. It was a fantastic musical. The music parts were great. I mean, directed by Joss Whedon. I mean, that probably explains a little bit why it was so good. But video games are the same way, right? Like, you can have a multi-million-dollar budget game, or even more so, like $500, $500 million budget for a video game, and it be hot trash. And then you can have a game that has, you know, the budget of $25,000. That's amazing. These indie games that show up, like Binding of Isaac, had next to no budget. Super Meat Boy had next to no budget. Rocket League had very little budget when it was first made. Now it has a huge budget, but beside the point. I'm happy I finally beat that bonus, by the way. I was getting so frustrated that I could not beat that damn bonus. But anyway, so there's lots of games like that. You know, there's so many indie games out there that are infinitely better than AAA games that have these $500 million plus budgets. And then there's all these like AAA games that have these massive budgets. Maybe not the $500 million ones, but the ones that are, you know, around the $250 million mark that everyone loves for some reason. And it's just like, why do you love it? This game is terrible. Like no, just no, don't like this game. Stop liking this game. You should not like it. So there's games like that that I kind of want to talk about too as another idea for a series. So yeah, I think mostly I'm just looking for, again, I've probably said it for the 5th time, feels like now, but just kind of looking for that feedback and seeing what kind of stuff, if anything I mentioned was something that people want to see, or if there's something completely else that you want to see that I didn't mention, that I forgot, or, you know, anything like that. So yeah, I hope everyone who watches comments and lets me know. And other than that, tomorrow we'll be back to a regular episode. Have a good one.